Hi all, I'm Gabby and I'm a wet and wet oil painter, and today I'm going to take you on a little tour of my studio and show you some of the little kind of organization things that I have. So let's go. Now I apologize in advance if this gets a little bit motiony, but in order to show you my studio we have to walk around. So we'll start on one side and work our way around. That is a green rack, that is a rack for my greenhouse. I have greenhouses. It's a good place to dry pictures. I sort of hang stuff on my walls. Those are saw blades that are drying. So I have nails all over the walls in here so I can hang up pictures sort of all over. So, organizing. One of the ways I organize my paint is I hang it up so that I can see it. So this is a regular sort of closet rack, and then I put the lids through and screw them back on. Now if the lids are too small, you can see I use these big washers to hold the lids. And let's see, we'll work our way down. I have a little system that's very similar for some smaller tubes. And I have another rack full of these. I have a lot of paint. So, what else do I have? Let's see here. So, I've been on a mission to collect oil paint. If I can get it at a good price, I get it. And I'm up to about 65 brands that I have tried so far. So, that is one drawer full. And that is another drawer full. And those are basically paints that are not going to get used for a while. Now over here, I have a garbage can. And up until earlier today, actually, this served as my beater can, where I would beat off my paintbrushes. And now it's going to be a garbage can. And this is just another chunk of that shelf. And then along it, I have this rack, and it's an over-the-door hanging rack for like coats and stuff, but I got it at the Dollar Tree, so it's like super flimsy and cheap, which was great because then I was able to sort of bend it around the can. So I hang my big paintbrushes off of that, some of them. And then let's see, what do I do with my other paintbrushes? So I got these at the Dollar Tree as well. You can find these online, but they're like $10 or $15, and I got a bunch of them for way cheaper. So I sort of divide my paintbrushes into types. So that one's kind of my wacky paintbrushes, and then I have some more racks I'll show you in a little bit. This rack that you see right here, those are actually paintbrushes that I have now used. Once they've been used, I clean them off with paint thinner, I let them dry, and then about once a week I'll take all of my brushes that have gotten dirty and I will take them and wash them with soap and water. There are different ways to clean brushes. That's how I choose to do it. Some people say no to soap and water with paintbrushes. I say there's no way I could do it without it. That is another jar, and those are also paintbrushes that I've used. And I keep like glass jars after, like, you know, we buy like pickles and stuff, and they're a really great way to store stuff that you need for oil painting. In this little wooden box here, I'll open it for you, I keep paintbrushes. So right now it's just storing brand new paintbrushes that I haven't used, but it is a wine box, which would hold 6 bottles of wine. I am a historical reenactor, so when I bring my paintbrushes, I have to have a place to hide them if they're not sort of period correct, and so that's what I keep my paintbrushes in. Let's move down here. That's where I keep my camera. This is my flat brushes, and I'm always moving my brushes around, but these racks really do work well. I created this little loop that holds my knives, and then I hang some of my other brushes. And then down below, those are my filberts. And this thing that they're sitting in is an old like plant rack. So I'm all about like repurposing stuff, and so that's just one of the things that I've repurposed. Moving upwards, this big white rack thing. Came with wheels, I pulled them off. And it is where I used to keep my paint until I had so much paint that the thing nearly collapsed. But I would divide my paint by colors in these drawers, and it was really handy because anytime I needed a color, I just popped open a drawer. They also make these with like different colors of drawers, which I thought would be really cool too, because then you could kind of divide your paint and put them in their adjoining color of drawer. Let's move down again. And here we have my easel. Let me slide back. I sit when I paint. So that's my easel, and it is completely filthy. It's covered in paint, and I just leave it that way because I paint all the time and paint gets all over it. However, you'll see that these boards are covered in paint, and if you ever paint on an easel and then you find that you get marks all over it from the previous painting, it's good to wipe those down with paper towels. It's a French field easel. That drawer pulls open and then obviously it closes, and the whole thing collapses so that I can take it with when I'm doing my reenactments. But I went and bought another French field easel and I use that one for camp. So this one stays home with me now. This is my new beading bucket. Slide forward here and move this paint. So here it is. I wanted a lid. I use Gamsol so it's not fumy. However, after it's been mixed with some paint, it starts to get this sort of linseed oil smell. So covering it actually seems to have made a big difference. So it pops open. And then inside I have that beading rack. I put holes in the bottom, and I shoved the feet of the rack down into it so that it doesn't move around at all anymore. And then I took a knife and spun holes into the bottom so that I can have my paint sort of separate out, and hopefully the sludge will work its way down. And this is actually not just one garbage can, but as you can see, it's 2 garbage cans. And by doing that, it obviously holds the paint thinner in there and keeps it nice and clean. Okay, so let's move on. Behind the curtains, I have these big racks. Now, I keep my big paintings and stuff up there. And then it has numerous shelves. I'll show you. I keep a bunch of my like little supplies up there, like some dryers and some linseed oil and stuff like that. I keep that stuff up there on a little spice rack, so I sort of repurpose that as well. Back up. And then these shelves that I use, when they're sitting like those are sitting down there, I can put about 48 on per shelf, which is really important because I have a ton of paintings. And so these shelves, I think I got them for about $130 a piece on Amazon. They're really easy to put together and they work really well. So that is all. I apologize I did not put any makeup on today, but I wanted to show you guys my studio and some of the kind of organization systems that I have, and maybe give some of you out there some idea of what you can do yourself, and just get you a little bit more familiar with what I'm working with, so that you guys can get a better idea of who I am and how I work. So I'm Gabby again. Thank you for watching, and until next time, happy painting.